Welcome to MI Magazine Presents Soul, a weekly entertainment show on fashion, arts and culture, mental health, relationships, travel, and food. Our weekly co-hosts are Carla Hill, Dr. Delvena Thomas, and Chef Irie. Now introducing our host, Miss Nicky Gelin.
Hello, y'all, and happy Hump Wednesday. Hope you had a great day. I am Nikki G. Nikki Says YOLO, and welcome to MIA Magazine Presents So y'all know last week and last weekend was just Art Basel week, period. And I was able to participate and just kind of experience the whole entire art of Black Miami for Art Basel week and weekend. So I wanted to show you a really quick snippet of my experiences. If you didn't go, you missed out. Make sure you make it next year. But go ahead and look at it. We got fights to tell. I see both sides like Chanel. Both sides like Chanel. Like I'm underworld. My tattoos and Shibuya. Police think I'm of the underworld. I'm treated as a black. Big scrap, laser. I'm an alien. Here's a taser. Yeah, I'm shield. Yeah, whole lot of shield. Yeah, slime here. Yeah. Niggas can tell. Yeah, I shoot a nigga if he tell. Yeah, down, don't tell. Nah, down, don't tell. Yeah, I see you too here. I got pretty like a girl. We got fights to tell. Both sides like Chanel. Both sides like Chanel. Feeling like I'm underworld. My tattoos and Shibuya. Police think I'm of the underworld. I'm treated as a black shit. Yeah, slime here. I got pretty like a girl. We got fights to tell. Both sides like Chanel. Both sides like Chanel. Big scrap, laser. I'm an alien. Here's a taser. Yeah, I'm shield. Yeah. So y'all see all that dopeness, and I do want to shout out the different galleries. So the African Art Fair was actually at the Glass Box Miami Ironside. Also, Let Art Noir, Diversity in Color, and that was at the African Heritage Cultural Arts Center. And I was also able to attend the 8th annual Art Beat Art Fair in Miami at the Caribbean Marketplace. And the beauty about this year was that the Greater Miami CVB, they wanted to focus on heritage neighborhoods, Little Haiti, Little Havana, like, you know, those areas. That's where the art is at. Not everything is on South Beach. Not everything is in Wynwood. Everything is literally within our backyards in those areas. So I want to give a shout out to the Greater Miami and also the Art of Black Miami. Now, we have to give a shout out to our sponsors as well. So the show is brought to you by the AARP, and we have such a great lineup tonight. So y'all know I'm a thespian. I love musical theater. I can't sing no more, but I do love going to shows and just consuming myself with the arts. So right now there is a show called A Wonderful World, and I'll be speaking to the playwright and two of the actors featured in the show. And the show will be taking place at the Colony Theater in Miami Beach. Now let's go ahead and get the show started. So my first co-host, she is the wonderful Dr. Delvena. She's our board certified psychiatrist and the creative behind the Brain Love podcast. So Dr. Delvena, how's it going?
Hey, happy hump day, Nikki. How are you?
I'm good, thank you.
Are you ready to take the couch?
I'm ready, honey.
Okay, relaxation time. Oh my gosh, there's so much to talk about, but I only have 4 or 5 minutes. So I guess I'll have to spread some of this out for future episodes. Tonight, I want to talk about the heart of a champion. That should ring a bell to you, Nikki, because that was the theme of the holiday gala that was put on by the Miami-Dade Chamber of Commerce on Saturday night. It was such a wonderful event. It was just I thought it was so dope, especially considering the previous events I've gone to for their gala. This one was awesome. It was in the perfect setting. Everyone was just dressed as usual. Everyone was dressed to the nines. Everyone just looked so fly. What was your favorite outfit?
Yours? We should show the picture, but okay, go ahead.
Seriously, your outfit was like everything.
Oh man, and I loved your outfit as well. And you have the perfect body for that. Like, I couldn't pull that off. So it was so awesome. Just everyone was so beautiful. And I thought, man, this theme, the heart of a champion, is the best theme ever because it reminds people as we're closing out the year to go into the new year and to have the heart of a champion. So some people may say, oh, what's the heart of a champion? What does that mean? It means that you're not going to stop for anything. You're always going to grind. You're not going to give up on whatever it is that you're trying to achieve, whether it's a physical achievement, mental, something to do with work, something to do with a relationship, something in your family. The heart of a champion knows right from wrong. They also have renewed their mind. And some people will bring spirituality into that, God and a higher power. Because we all know there is a maker, right? We didn't just pop here from nowhere. There is a maker, there is a higher power. And so you give all faith to that higher power. And you know that higher power, she will not leave you. She'll stand by your side. And there's certain things that you have to do to maintain the heart of a champion. You must have discipline, right? Because I know, Nikki, I know you have discipline. There's times when we want to do things and we have to say no, because we're being disciplined, because we know we have to work on our art, we have to work on our craft, which is another characteristic of the heart of a champion. It's always practicing, always being ready, always learning more, trying to seek more, trying to be better, trying to fulfill that craft and be the best that you can be. That is also the heart of a champion. I'm talking a lot, Nikki. So I just want to say,
you're dropping gems. No, I'm all ears.
Yeah. So an attitude is important. And you got that attitude, Nikki. When I see you out, you got that attitude, girl. And attitude doesn't mean like negativity. Because sometimes people are like, oh, she looked like she got an attitude. I don't mean that type of attitude. I mean the confidence. That's the type of attitude I mean. I mean coming in knowing you're about to rock stuff and you're going to get something done. And you are that person that whoever hired you to do something or whatever, that you're showing them you hired, you selected the right person. You have to be confident in everything that you're doing. So I just wanted to touch on that a little bit. It's very important. It's the end of the quarter, the end of the year. And so we have to remember whatever we're doing, we must have the heart of a champion. Be tenacious. Don't stop. Don't give up, because you never know how close you get to something before it's over. I see this often on social media where people will start a project, they're saying they're doing something and 2-3 weeks go by, maybe 2 or 3 months, and they're not getting the response that they're expecting and they give up on it. If you truly believe in what you're doing, this is your passion, this is what you want to share with people, you won't stop. You won't quit. You'll continue to share. You'll show disregard for the amount of likes, the amount of comments, and you'll keep going. You'll keep doing what you're doing. That's all I got, Nikki.
Right. Man, you always dropping these gems. Like, thank you so much. That was part 1. So we'll have a part 2 and part 3 coming up. Okay.
Yeah. Well, I'm going to make a transition because it's the holidays. So the next show, I'm going to talk about Christmas music and why it's therapeutic, because we're getting to that time of the season, man, Christmas and Kwanzaa.
All right. No, well, thank you so much. And when you say Christmas music, I think of Mariah Carey.
Mariah Carey.
All for Christmas. It's like when I hear that song, it just like set the tone. I think everybody is like, when we hear that song, it like set the tones for like Christmas mode. So, okay.
Yeah. But if you talk to some older folks, they'll tell you it's Silent Night by the Temptations sets the tone. So Be ready. Be ready. Next week, we're going to talk about
my playlist ready. All right.
So Brain Love.
Brain Love. We'll see you next week. And now on to my next co-host. She is the wonderful Imani Latifa. She's our arts and culture connoisseur, and she knows the knows that's happening right here within South Florida. So you're on mute right now. There you go.
Nikki.
Happy Hump Wednesday. How you doing?
I'm doing well, beloved. How are you doing?
I'm good. I'm just blessed to every day I wake up, it's a blessing. Because not everyone have that privilege. So thank you for asking.
Yeah, like seriously, we have to kind of be like, how are you doing? And really mean that. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, seriously. So Nikki, before I start, I want to ask you something that's a little bit weird and strange and interesting. And I promise you, I have a reason why.
Okay.
Have you ever considered growing your own cotton?
No.
Okay, I'm gonna let you think about that. The African American Research Library has this amazing exhibit called The Color of Money. Since everybody's been talking about Art Basel and recovering from Miami Art Week, I'm kind of going to spread it out a little bit with other things that are going on, some exhibits that's happening. So they have this exhibit called The Color of Money, where they're featuring Confederate money, but there's pictures of African American ancestors like from enslavement period. And they talk about the fact that money, and there's cotton plants and all these things about cotton. But Nikki, did you know that the cash money that we use, it's not paper. It's actually made of cotton and linen. I just found it out a couple of days ago. I did not know that. And so I want people to get educated. I want people to kind of, know what's going on. So check out that exhibit at the African American Research Library. They're amazing over there. They give an excellent presentation, and there's some footage to kind of get to know the artists and their desire to kind of paint and even discover stuff like that. But that's, like you said, happening right in our own backyard.
So that's why when you wash the money, it don't shred or nothing. It's staying intact. I'm like, how am I washing this in the washing machine and it's still like staying intact?
Exactly. Because it's cotton. We're not chasing paper, we're chasing cotton. That's what I want.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I know about the linen, but not the cotton part. Wow.
Yeah, that's cotton and linen. So I mean, but who knows these things? Also, I had the opportunity to do a movie premiere, National Champions, and it was from our friends at Ally Entertainment, and they basically were like, "Hey, we're having this movie premiere," and basically, National Champions French Montana. Are you familiar with him?
I am, yes. He's an artist.
Yes, he was there. He's in the movie, has a feature song, but it's basically a film about how, these college athletes are enslaved. And I thought it was an amazing piece to have like conversation around that, because, our young people are really trying so hard to just find themselves in a way, but this film really talks about that. So that's something that's happening. I've seen it at the Regal Theater here in South Beach. So people should definitely check that out. And so my last thing is like just recovering from Miami Art Week. I had visitors for 11 days. So I'm coming. So I'm coming back to my place of peace. And, I will have more. I don't want to take up too much time, but I just wanted to talk to you about that. But I am doing a challenge where I purchased a cotton plant. And I'm going to grow this cotton plant. And it's brown cotton. And I have a little teeny baby. I'll send pictures so you guys can see it. But I think it's remarkable because I'm trying to see if I can grow my own money, Nikki. But yeah, so that's what I'm doing. I'm doing the Grow Cotton Challenge.
Send it, shows pictures or videos of a timeline of,
the baby, the
process.
Cotton.
Yeah,
absolutely. I thought you'd get a kick out of that, Nikki, because your face is saying everything right now. Like,
I'm just maybe I can make my own clothes.
Yes, exactly. Yes, exactly.
Yeah. So what's your Instagram handle, or how can we find you?
Check me out. I'm at Sapia Kaleidoscope, and I'm at Ori Geechee. Sapia Kaleidoscope features some more art, and then things that's happening progressively that's going on culturally in Miami. Just stay tuned. I got you. Yes.
All right, Imani, thank you. And your earrings are really I keep checking out your earrings. The colors keep catching my eye. Okay.
Thank you.
Well, thank you so much, and we'll see you next week.
All right. Thank you, ma'am. See you next week.
And now on to my next co-host. He is a personal and private chef. He's also the host on Taste the Island on American Public Television. He's also an author as well, and he's just a fabulous chef. Chef Irie, bloop, bloop, bloop. What
fire, more fire, darling. What's going on, Nikki?
Hey.
Happy hump day, happy hump Wednesday. What can I say, baby? It's all good. Yes, birthday vibes. I'm still in birthday vibes. And that Art Basel week was cool. It was right on time. So you had a good time? Yeah, we saw each other out on the road.
We sure did. You actually look really dapper in your outfit, really Art Basel-esque.
Yeah, well, I wish I could have. I wanted to dress up more, but look here. It was what it was. It was what it was, man. So hopefully next year I can come out looking very artistic. Yes. Thank you. So what are you drinking this morning, girl? Or this evening? I'm sorry, what are you drinking this evening?
Yeah. Well, I'm actually having I made my own thing. It's like my own ginger I boiled with some gin and a splash of grapefruit juice.
All right. So
I just made it up.
I know we didn't coordinate at all. So the FedEx man did indeed deliver my
That's what I used in my drink.
So guess what? I'm having gin. Yes. And so shout out to I forgot his name, but
Reggie
for Ingenious Gin. This thing is delightful. Yes, it is awesome. Very floral. Very, it rests nice on the palate and it goes down nice and easy. And I'm actually a fan of this. This is good. I love this stuff. So a real quick tip that you can use this if you don't want to drink it, you can actually use this in a brine. So if you're going to brine poultry, pork, you can use this in your brine. Just like if you were to use like cognac or rum, you can use some gin in your brine. Your salt, your sugar, your spices, your herbs, and a little gin. Yes. So what are we talking about today, Nikki? So I figure it's we're in December and we get it's the holiday season. Now, Christmas is coming. Damn it, Christmas is coming. Enough of this holiday stuff. Christmas is coming, and I'm feeling like I should be in a Christmas mood. And so I'm going to talk about 3 things real quickly. Memories from my Christmas. And for the rest of the holiday, we're going to talk about Christmas because we should be in the mood. All right. Do you love Christmas, Nikki?
I love Christmas.
All right. So I know a lot of people, go through a lot of stuff. And Dr. Delvena, I'm sure, could attest to this. So we need to be mindful, as we're spreading joy and all that good stuff. But as it, food is a big part of the holidays and Christmas. And my Christmas memories. All right. So just 3 things. Christmas, food and family. And just growing up, I just remembered that Christmas Day was the day, one of the days of the year, a few days of the year, that most of my family would come. So I would see my grandmother, my cousins, my uncles, their wives, and whatever strays my mom would pick up outside, and Christmas dinner was just always huge. So the first thing for me, Christmas cake, black cake. All right. The cake itself is one of my favorite cakes. But the process going into making this cake, and just before that cake goes into the oven. So after watching my mom make it, and we didn't have all she didn't have a lot of equipment, so everything was being made by hand. And of course, when the batter gets poured into the cake bins, what's left? The bowl. All right, and I would sit literally on the stairs of the kitchen by the way our house, as a kid. I'm waiting because I want to get that bowl so I can lick that bowl. Yes. Yes. And so the cake baked, but also she would make pudding, from the same batter. So Christmas pudding. So there's 2 ways to make the cake. You can bake it in the oven, you can bake it in the pudding. And we did it outside, or she did it outside. And of course, they have this whole hallelujah top, hella bottom, and fire top, hella bottom, hallelujah in the middle. I guess that would be the cornmeal pudding. But it's the same way she made the pudding. The batter goes in a pan, in the water, cover it, boom, there you go. Second, Christmas breakfast. All right. So this was a time for my mother and my dad and myself. And sometimes my grandmother would come, and a couple of my cousins. So we'd have Christmas breakfast, and that was always good. Bananas, dumpling, ackee, liver, callaloo. Yes. Chocolate tea. Yes. I'm just saying, girl. Woo! Oh my God. Hallelujah. Yes. Thank you, Jesus. Yes. So Christmas breakfast, and my dad, he would go to church real early, and then just before breakfast, he'd come back and he would make Christmas punch with Guinness, condensed milk, rum, blah, 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 spices, you name it. And, so as a kid, you can tell I'm an early season alcoholic because my dad would put liquor in that. So that's Christmas breakfast. Christmas dinner. All right. Like I said, family and food. We talking roast beef. We talking mashed. We talking potato salad. We talking roast chicken. We talking curry goat. We talking stewed pork. We talking rice and peas. We talking salad. We talking a smorgasbord of food. But you know what, Nikki? As much food that there was on that table, the best part for me was having all my family there. And as a kid, that to me still is the thing that I sometimes long for, because the idea for me, it was just myself and my mom and my dad that, you know, in the house most of the time. So when family would come over, I was always ecstatic. So I was always, you know, glad to you know, to share that moment with my family. So, you know, as we're moving into the holidays and the Christmas season and Christmas vibe, you know, please don't get bogged down with how many gifts you got to go out there and buy and how much debt you got to put yourself into. You know, make it simple, keep it simple, and remember to spread some joy to some other people. And I'm going to try to do the holiday project again. Hopefully I have time to run the project for single moms in need. We did it for Thanksgiving, and I think I'm going to be able to do it this holiday season right before Christmas again. So if you want to come out and help Nikki, you know, let me know, you know, hand out the food. Yes.
I'm in. Yeah.
So just follow the post on. No, well, actually, if anybody is watching right now, DM me either on IG or on Facebook if you have a couple of people, single moms in need, that you'd like to refer. Let me know so we can put them on a list. This is a list only give out, so you can kind of show up and just get stuff. I need to know how many people are going to be there. So if you know someone who is actually in some need and could benefit from some food stuff for the holidays, let me know.
All right. And, you know, I'm still waiting on my sorrel, you know. Still waiting on my sorrel. Thank you.
Well, I'm going to be making sorrel this year, darling. So you have a buckle. If anything, you can always get one of the one that's still in the fridge from last year.
Ooh, yeah, that's the best one. All right. Well, Chef, thank you so much. And we'll see you next week.
Salud.
Salud. And now the moment I have been waiting for. It's a wonderful world. I think I just butchered that part. Okay. So our featured guest tonight, I'll be speaking to Aurin Square. He is the multi-talented playwright and television writer for This Is Us, The Good Fight, Evil, and Miami new drama, 7 Deadly Sins. And he's also from right here from Opa-Locka, Florida. So he's the playwright for AWW, which stands for A Wonderful World. So Aurin, thank you so much for being one of our featured guests tonight. And next up, I'll also be talking to Juson Williams. He's playing the roles of Louis Armstrong. And let's see here. So a 4-time Audelco Award winner whose New York credits include The Wiz, The Color Purple, Fortress of Solitude, Jesus Christ Superstar, and Smokey Jones Cafe. Oh, okay. Nice to meet you. And lastly, including is Nicole Henry. Yes. Welcome back, Nicole. We did an interview a few months back. Nice seeing you again.
Good to be here.
Yeah, so she's very ecstatic to perform with Miami New Drama, returning to the theater in 2019. Henry was headlined in over 20 countries as a recording artist. And she's earned a Soul Train Award and 3 top 10 jazz albums. Welcome to MIA Magazine Soul.
Thank you.
Right into it. So tell us a little about your background, and we'll start with you, Aurin Square.
I'm from here in Opa-Locka, Florida. I went to high school at North Miami Beach and college at Northwestern. But yeah, I was down here working on Confessions of a Cocaine Cowboy at Miami New Drama with Billy Corbin that I co-wrote. And this was 2018. And I just had a meeting with Michelle Houseman, the artistic director. He asked me what I knew about Louis Armstrong. I happened to have been a gig coordinator for New School for Jazz years ago, where I was subbing in for a friend, and I ended up doing it the entire year. And so just immersing myself in jazz that year, Someone gave me a Secret Santa gift of Louis Armstrong's bio, like a huge thick tome. I went home over the holidays and read it. And then I started listening to Louis Armstrong YouTube clips when I was at work, because being a jazz gig coordinator isn't that busy during the early mornings, since most people call at night or in the afternoon, and just immersing myself in that without knowing that this would happen later, that this chance meeting with Michelle connecting me and Christopher Renshaw, the brilliant Tony nominee director of the show, together. He lives a block away from the theater. We talked about Louis Armstrong and then met up with Andrew Delaplane and just began hashing it out. And this is end of 2018, while we were in rehearsal for Confessions of a Cocaine Cowboy, beginning of 2019. And so we just wrote out something. I wrote out the outline while I was staying here on South Beach, wrote out the script real quick, went back to New York, and then we just played phone tag going back and forth from Miami to New York and meeting these amazing artists. Juson was one of the first people we met. I met him at the O'Neill. And then later on, they said, like, do you know Nicole Henry? And I was like, of course I know Nicole Henry. we would love her to be a part of it. I was like, that's brilliant. That's fantastic. And that's how it sort of all came together over the last 2-3 years.
Wow. And Juson, what about you? So what's a little bit about your background?
I'm a drunk. Nah, let me stop.
That's a different show. That's a whole different show.
Listen, I just want to let y'all know, I know this is not the point, but I am congested here. My allergies are going wild, yo. I don't know what to do, but I'm breathing in tubes to make sure. But I guess for Louie's voice, this is wonderful. But I'm so happy to be here. Thank you for bringing us on to your show. I'm excited for you, Miss Nikki. You know, it's a wonderful thing to have your own thing going on, and you know, bringing in other artists into your realm. That's a beautiful give back, and I'm proud of that for you.
Thank you.
Well, I live in New York. I was born in Texas, but I live in New York. I lost both of my parents when I was 11. And so I had to live in New York with my grandmother, who I lost when I was 14. And then I moved with my aunt, who will be here this week, tomorrow. She's like one of my biggest fans, and I'm so excited that she will be here for the opening of this piece of beauty that Aurin and our director, Chris, has put in perspective, and our choreographers, the whole team, everybody on this team. Without each person, it wouldn't work. And I don't know, you haven't seen it yet, right, Nikki?
I have not seen it yet, but I do plan on seeing it. It's going to be a whole experience for me. So yes.
Oh yes. Well, it sure will. It sure will. So I'm a director choreographer, and I'm also executive director of a group called JW's Inspirational Singers. And we recently in this pandemic, which is still on, but Florida doesn't believe they're in a pandemic.
Yeah, Florida's a whole nother
place. That's okay. We are in this pandemic. We were contestants on America's Got Talent, season 16. You can pull that up and check us out. No, we didn't win, but the experience was fruitful and beautiful, and it was our time. And we got a lot of different things from that's on and upcoming. Now, getting back to this piece of work, this is the show I never thought I would ever do or imagine for myself. Never, ever. Louis Armstrong, I'm a tenor. Louis Armstrong is a baritone. I'm like, I kept fighting. But you know how we fight what the good Lord above gives us?
Yes.
All the time. And I kept fighting against it. But I learned to love every moment because we had similarities in our lives, you know? Loss of parents, loss of life, wanting to love, being misunderstood, sometimes having to find the capacity to love in which the world has in its own self. All of these things came to the table, and I used all of that to bring this person to life and to give him some validity, you know, because nobody really knows a lot about him unless you've done some research. There's not a lot out there. All we know is the trumpet, A Wonderful World, and The Voice. But we don't know about him changing music history. We don't know about him being in the political world, having his own standpoint after witnessing things he's never witnessed before. It's just the role that was given to me as a gift from God. And I feel so blessed to be here, and I'm really working this out. Even from the last time we were here, I've added some new nuances, and I totally trust the people behind me. I totally trust everybody that has put this in perspective. Aurin, I may get your words wrong some days. Some days it's a doozy.
Give us an inside joke
because
thing
I never leave the stage. But it's a beautiful piece of work, and I couldn't imagine me not being in it now.
So,
the funny thing is, we met up at the O'Neill Center in Connecticut in 2016. Juson was in a musical. I had a play. And so we ended up talking and then didn't see each other for the next few years until the week or two before they started casting this. I walked into Rattlestick Theater to see a play, and there was Juson with our mutual friend Pernell. And he was like, hey, and I was like, wow, this has been a few years. And he was like, I'm looking to work with you on something. And I was like, well, I'll let you know. And I just remember it was so hot that we were sharing a fan. We turned one of our things into like a church fan. And then pass it to Pernell, we'd fan it, and then pass it to Juson, we'd fan it. And we were just like fanning each other while talking about working together and watching this play. So, and then a week or two later, they were asking me, do you know anyone for this role? And I was like, well, yes, someone I met at the O'Neill in 2016 and who I just saw a week or two ago for the first time in years at Rattlestick Theater. So synergy, synchronicity.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Well, my next question was, Juson, so when you learned that you were going to play the role of Louis Armstrong, what was your reaction? Like, reenact your reaction for us.
I mean, my reaction was like, when I got a call from from my agents, and the director wanted to have a Skype with me. And I had not, this is so crazy though. The director wanted to have a Skype with me, and I didn't know at all that it was for Louis Armstrong. I thought it was, because they were asking, I thought it was just, it's a jazz musical. I thought they were just trying to fit me in somewhere. So all this time had passed, and I had no idea it was for that role. And the funny thing is, like 15 years ago, that same director, I was up for a role in his show Taboo that I think that they X'd out. They eliminated that role from the show for, all the time. They changed things up. So the role that I was right for was eliminated from the show. And so I wasn't up for it anymore. Okay. And that's okay, because I saw that show and I absolutely love it. It was it was called Taboo, and it's a Boy George musical. It's a musical that features Boy George's music, and he was in it. He didn't play himself, but he was in it, and he played another character who was just amazing, and he wrote the music for the show, of course. And our director of A Wonderful World was the director of that show.
Okay.
And I was like, he said that he knows you. And I was, in my head, I was like, I don't know him. Because it was so long ago and I didn't get it. So I was like, what? So then even when we got on Skype, I was like, in my head. And as we started to talk, I was like, oh. And it was funny. It was funny. And he says, yeah, I've been following you, and I know that you can give the warm sweetness, but I want to know if you are able to dig deeper. And I was like, I started listing all the things that happened in my life, and I'm like, yeah, I can draw from a deep place.
Mm-hmm. Yes, we have some clarity.
And that's some things. Louis Armstrong hid a lot of that by smiling a lot and just being so effervescent on stage. He hid a lot of his stuff that he carried on his back for years, and it just seems right. But I was like, I fought it. I was like, well, it's just a reading. I guess I'll just do the reading and see what happens. But then I started falling in love with it, and the writing is so dreamy. Aurin, and I don't kiss nobody's butt cheeks. Mm-hmm. I wanted to say the other word, but I wouldn't. But Aurin, let me tell you, I saw one of his pieces at the O'Neill, and I said, I want to direct something of yours. And he sent me some stuff to read, but for some reason, we got lost in translation. It just didn't happen the way I thought it would. And then this came along, and the writing, and then I saw This Is Us. That was my show, the first season. And I was like, who did this? And why am I sitting here crying like it was like episode after episode. I was like, oh God, who did this? And then I learned that Aurin Square did some work on that. And I was like, this is crazy. And it was just, that was
It's
it.
all connected.
That was it. That was
it's
all that she
connected.
wrote.
It has to be the right timing, you know? You never know, but it's the right timing.
Right.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And I feel like everything I've done in my life, everything has led me up to this particular moment.
Mm-hmm.
You know, this, like if I said this, if I said if I win a Tony, because we are moving on. That's what we're talking about. And that's what I'm keeping in my mind. We are moving on. And with me, they are not going to buy me out. Anyway, so if I say that if I win a Tony, it wouldn't be for this show. It'll be for everything that I've worked on in my whole life leading up to whatever this moment is. You know, because nobody really knows what you've done to move, to get into this perspective, or to move in this direction. There's a lot of things that I've had to do to get here where I am at this specific time. And there's no ending to it. I'm always going to want to climb and be at a greater place. That's hence the reason why I even have my own group. I want to own something. I want things that are mine, that I can sign on the dotted line and say, well, I want them to be this way, and I want this, and I want that. And it's okay to want that. You should want that.
Of course, of course.
I'm here upgrading my life, and I'm bringing the noise to this, and I'm not going to lie about it. I feel great about it. I'm still building this character. I'm still learning. I'm still reading people. The amount of love that people are giving me. Oh, wow. This was a gift from the museum from New York. They found out I was doing the show. Ricky Riccardi. I kept calling him Ricky Ricardo, but it's Ricky Riccardi. I was like, Ricky Ricardo is the executive director of the Museum of Louis Armstrong in New York. But no, he found out about me and he sent me these books. He sent me books. Wow. And I've been reading a lot of stuff to do my research on it. So I'm fully equipped. I got backing that's fully equipped. And
you're ready. Yeah, you're ready to tell a story. That's it. You are ready to tell his story. So Miss Nicole Henry. So now this musical is told from the perspective of the women in his life. And you played his third wife, Alva Smith. Now, what was she like? What was she like, and how did you prepare for that role?
Well, the interesting thing is that, and nice to be with you, Nikki. Thanks for having us. And I'll just start by saying the script Aurin wrote is just beautiful. He's a master with words and time and space. And I'm having a great time. This is the first time in my career to originate a role. So really to create a character. And from what we know about Alpha, which is so very little, there's probably like 3 photos of her with I was gonna say with Juson, with Louie. There's very few photos. There's not a lot of information about her, even like what she. There's not a lot of information. So as far as preparing for the role, really it was, learning more about Louie. Learning more about that time of the Great Migration and really creating a character for her, creating the fact that she more than likely came from the South, like so many Black Americans did at that time in the 1920s. And just giving her a different dimension than the other wives have. So, and they have obviously his last wife, which is his 4th wife. I'm his 3rd. There's so much more about Lucille. We have a little bit of information about his 1st wife, played by Christine Sajous. Is that how you say her last name? I never call her
Christina Sajous.
So Christina Sajous is the 1st wife. Daisy Parker. And then we have Allison Sims playing, and Allison's from Chicago, Christina is from New York, and then Darlene Hope plays the fourth wife, and she's from North Florida, right out of Jacksonville. So we're all very different characters. His second wife, Lil Hardin, we know a lot about because she recorded with Louie. She was an artist in her own right, educated musician. So she came obviously before me, second wife. So Alpha Smith I just tried to give her a little bit of different dimension, as did Aurin. So I'm working with what Aurin gave me and really just reading into his lines and coming up with. She actually wears a lot of pink and red in the show. So I've added a lot more pink to my wardrobe over these last few months, just kind of really digging in and feeling what that is. But yeah, I'm having a great time. I'm learning a lot as well.
Awesome, yeah, and I'm looking forward to like the outfits, like you know, I don't know.
Outfits by Irie Fulton are stunning, and major shout out to the costuming. You're gonna love the outfits, to the set. It's done by Adam and Steve. Corey does the lighting, which is and Ricky Tripp as incredible choreographer. There are amazing dance sequences, tap, huge numbers. And then as importantly, Anastasia and Michael, who I met back in New York when Michael was working on the Apollo. God. We went and visited him after he was doing Showtime at the Apollo and running that band. And then Anastasia, who's been orchestrating a bunch of Broadway shows and is doing Carolina Change on Broadway right now. We met up and they came down. So you're seeing the fusion of talent. But yes, Nicole
Michael is doing MJ musical right now.
Yeah, and he's doing the MJ musical, and Anastasia and him are switching back and forth right now. But Nicole brings her soul to this. She brings her passion. I remember we had a rehearsal where we were talking over the lines, and I just said, do it like your mother or grandmother are on. What would they do in this scenario at a bar? Mm-hmm. And Nicole just completely dropped into that moment and adding those richness and layers. So each one of the actors playing the wives, Darlene, Allison, Christina, Nicole, are bringing their ancestors, are bringing their experience, like Juson is talking about, is bringing all their history and coloring the words. Because the words are just, I write them, but they're things on a page. They have to come alive with the people saying them and what they're bringing from their heart. And they're bringing all of it.
Yeah, it's everything. It's their character. It's their lifestyle, what they ate, how they dressed, how they spoke. Like it's everything, And so now
and it's not an imitation. I'm sorry. I'm trying. It's not an imitation because the thing about it is that we don't know these people. Mm-hmm. We don't know these people. We know what we read. We know what we see, but that's not all of their lives. So there is room to create and to make this person just real, adding on to what we already know. Mm-hmm. So I try not to imitate them, and I'm hoping that that's not the case. However, to do this piece, you have to have that grovelly voice a little bit. You have to, and you've got to give a little bit of what they've given in order to be believable. But I use a lot of me and a lot of Louie, and I kind of put them together. Yeah. What do you think, Aurin? Because I've been interested in knowing this.
Now you asking?
I'm definitely, I went to the actor's studio for grad school. So I always believe in that first layer is adding your own self to the piece. And then from that, building a character. And from building a character, creating a role for the character within a play. And those are the 3 steps in the Stanislavski book. Like first calling that history, that personal memory, all the sense memory, all those things, and adding it to the character of Alpha, which is what Nicole is doing, and Louis Armstrong. And then figuring out, okay, how does this character fit as a role within this world of the history of America in the 20th century, the history of Black America and the birth of jazz and the trajectory of pop culture that Black people have helped create from the 20th and 21st century, and how these figures, Louis Armstrong and his 4 wives, are sort of sitting there at the start of this and represent the game plan that everyone has copied from Louis Armstrong to Miles Davis to Jay-Z and Beyonce, they all go back to Louis Armstrong and these originators of jazz and Alpha and Lucille, who were like figuring it out for the first time, how to be Black, rich, and famous in America, and getting pulled on all sides. And like, so every single artist from Aaliyah to Alicia Keys is still studying those blueprints laid down by these ancestors in this musical that we're addressing.
You know, and I want to, Juson, you were going to say something?
I was going to say, and Nikki, Aurin, I was trying to get Aurin to tell me what I was doing, because he talked about the wives, but he didn't talk about Lou. He talked about how beautifully they move the story along, but he didn't say anything about how Louie beautifully moves the story along. But I guess he didn't understand the assignment.
Yeah. You're amazing. You're on stage the whole time. You're amazing, and he's adding his layers to it, and it's beautiful. But I can see the background.
We like you. We really like you, Juson.
Exactly. I can see the background of what we talked about.
Well, I don't like you. You're the only one that left me.
Yeah, Alpha was the only one that left.
Yes, it's true. Alpha's the only wife that left Louie.
Okay. Well, we gonna find out why in the musical.
Which is exactly how my mother would have acted.
Yes,
if
we are.
What he was doing to me. So yeah.
So, Aurin, this question is for you. So his popularity was definitely grew amongst, the Black audience, but it definitely crossed over to the white audience as well. But I did some research, and Louie, he was a bit reluctant to publicize his race. Correct me if I'm wrong, but is this because he was raised by a Jewish family?
No, the Jewish family, the Karnofskys, helped him out a lot, and they gave him a job. But also early jazz music, a lot of times they would put a white couple on the cover. Early Motown, they put like white people because they didn't want that influencing sales. And so he would be very reluctant to tell people in some areas, Deep South, or when he's performing in an area, because he didn't want that to get in the way of people actually hearing the genius of what he was doing and other people were doing.
Wow. So do you think, like, back then, it's like the 1920s. So as far as like the African Americans, do you think that they were a bit upset at him for not, giving credit to his race and having the talent that he has and kind of hiding behind that, given that Motown wanted to show like the white audiences? Like, how did his Black audiences feel back then about him being reluctant to showing his full natural self, including his talent?
Well, I think it's the trajectory of Black superstars. First, you grow yourself within the Black community, and people are proud of you, and you develop your shtick and your routines in the Black community, in the church, or in the nightclubs. Then you take it and you have this crossover. And once you use those techniques to cross over, the audience, your Black community splits. There's some people who are proud and saw you from the jump and can see the trajectory. There are other people who feel like your talent has been appropriated and you've sold out to others. And Louis Armstrong felt very conflicted about that, because the smiling and grinning, that stuff he developed with Black people. It's just that he was using that with white people, and then it reads differently when you're doing that on screen with white people as opposed to when you're doing it among family. And as you know, we talk as Black people, Thanksgiving, Christmas, in a certain way and do certain things, fooling around, that if we do that in the presence of white people, it feels different. It has a different feeling to it. But Louis Armstrong didn't really have that filter. He was that expansive and that big.
Right.
I have work right now. I have to go. I'm co-executive producer on Evil, but this has been so great. Nicole and Juson are forces of nature. Everyone come see A Wonderful World. Our previews continue on Thursday, and then we open on Saturday. Thank you, Nikki, for having me. I'd love to come back and talk more a little bit earlier, but Juson and Nicole can take it over from me and have something to say.
Well, nice to meet you.
Good to see you. See you this weekend.
On the show.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So now, Nicole, this question is now for you. So he was married to 4 women.
Yes.
And, my question is, are we going to see perhaps the root of why there was such a challenge of him finding love?
We do hit that. We definitely hit that. I mean, there's no mistake as to why the story is told in the 4 chapters of his life through women. And so, yeah, just the script hits that. And yeah, so you have to come and see it and see exactly.
Okay, we can't wait. Okay, because I know, like, in
Yes.
based on his history, his father abandoned him and his mother when he was born, and then his mother, she, it was a bit difficult for her, so she actually went into prostitution, and that's how the Jewish family took him in, and kind of helped groomed him. So, and fast forward when he got older, 4 wives. So I was just curious as to if there's a root that we'll see as to why he was trying to find love, and with a different wives. So okay, now I'm really asking now. Yes,
and
yes,
yes, you will. Yes, you will.
You have to come see the show, and I think one of the interesting things is because Louis could have been, even if his mother happened to have been a prostitute, it could have been a totally different thing. You have 2 kids from the same mother and they turn out differently. So I think everybody has an individual story, but Louis is it's very fascinating. And I think the script just does a great job in bringing what we know about Louis, sometimes from his own books, his autobiographies or biographies that have a lot of interviews from him. You get an understanding of what he really was, but he was genius, and he changed history, and was at one time one of the richest and most powerful or most popular Black entertainers, Black people in America, in the world. And so it's just beautiful to have an opportunity to highlight that and to highlight the history, particularly in a place like Miami Beach, where it has its own music history and its own America has its own music history of segregation and where people performed and where people stayed and all that stuff. So it's just wonderful to see Miami New Drama picking up this piece and having it be born in Miami through Aurin and so forth.
Yeah.
So,
and talking just and piggybacking off of this, I'm okay with it. It's a feel-good musical, but it also has some deep-rooted stuff that needed to be addressed. Everybody is not, you've got to feel the humanistic part of somebody. If you're going to tell their story of all the happy things, you've got to talk about the other stuff. Because if you don't talk about the other stuff, when I say stuff, that means everything else. If you don't talk about that, then you don't get the full gist of how he became this person or how someone made him this person. You don't get that stuff unless you go full throttle. And he had many faults. He had many faults that he didn't know about. I think that he loved to the capacity. I think he led with love to the capacity in which he was loved.
Yes.
And I think that some of the things that he says were just old-fashioned things that he believed was it. At that time, he believed that was it. And
he acted
and some people will fault him for that, but that's what he did. And it's real. It's real.
And the musical will definitely depict that part. So how can we find tickets?
You can go to colonymb for Miami Beach.org, and that's the name of the theater. Or you can go to Miami New Drama. I think it's .org. Okay. Oh wait, it might be colonymb. Just look up Colony in Miami Beach.
It's Miami.
So is it colonymb.com or .org? I don't remember.
Actually. Oh, we're gonna pull it up right now. Here it is. So MiamiNewDrama.org.
Yep, MiamiNewDrama.org. There it is.
On my phone. Yes. So come see us. Like Aurin was saying, we have 2 more nights of previews, and then we open on Saturday, and then we're gonna run through to Christmas, through New Year, all the way to January 16th.
Yes, awesome. Now, my last question to both of you, what would you tell your younger selves, and how old would you be? And Juson, we'll start with you.
I need a moment. Wait, what would I do? Say that again.
What would you tell your younger self, and how old would you be?
Ooh.
Well, okay,
I
you
would
take a
tell my
minute.
younger self.
Okay.
Huh?
No, go. I thought you needed some time. So go ahead.
Oh, I'm sorry. I would tell my younger self that the things that happened in your life are not your fault.
Wow.
You didn't ask to be here, but I believe, but the higher power had a plan for you, and to keep moving through that. Just keep moving, even though you don't know all those plans that are meant for you. And even though all the things that you think you want in your head are not coming to you the way you desire them, keep on the journey and the path in which you have been moving on, and let it all work itself out.
Wow. Yeah, that's it. Just go with the flow of life. Just go with the flow where it takes you. Just go with that flow. And Nicole, what about you? What would you tell your younger self, and how old would you be?
Maybe at 11, I would tell myself to keep doing
10
things.
for me. Sorry.
10, yes. I would say just continue to follow my heart and continue to ask for help. To ask for help, because I personally have tried to do a lot of things on my own just because I want to get it done, so I get it done. You know, no excuses was what always raised with that idea. So it's like, if you want to do something, do it. But sometimes I wouldn't ask for enough help. But I think we all get so much further and I've had a great life. I don't have any regrets, and I feel so ridiculously blessed every morning and night. But I would say, yeah, ask for more help, because I think we always go further when there's people around us on the journey.
I need to do that as well. So
yeah.
Wow. Well, thank you so much. I'm super
What
excited.
about you?
Oh my gosh. I've never had the question thrown back at me before. Okay, so what would I tell my younger self? Definitely to not take no for an answer. I would say I would be around 19 would be my age. I was in college at that time and trying to figure things out, and rejection really kind of really hit me. Being rejected or not getting that thing or not having that thing approved. So I would say definitely not taking no for an answer, being persistent and turning that no into a yes. There are always doors open for someone. That door may not be for yours, but you're going to find your door. So I'm gradually learning that, along the way. So yeah, that's me. But people are asking me that question.
Nice.
Of course.
Yes. So I will be in the building. Yes. I'm going to plan a really nice dinner before the show, and then I'll be at the show afterwards. I'm going to make it a full experience.
Bring your posse. Are you going to be there for opening?
When is opening? Because it was in December. I saw December 4th is what I saw.
December 11th is opening.
Oh, okay. That's on Saturday. Okay. Yes, I do. I may have another obligation, but I'm going to figure some stuff out.
Whenever you get there.
But I'm going to
tell your friends about it. Yes. Everybody else, get your tickets. We're doing this for you, for us.
Tell all our people. Tell all our people to get out there.
I am.
And like the advertisement says on the, they have a video. It says, catch it before it goes to Broadway, because this is something from Miami Beach, and I think it really is true on the way to Broadway. So it's history in the making, and we have no excuses. It's right here in our backyard.
Bring your tissue.
So,
definitely. Yeah, Tony Awards coming, manifestation. Okay, so thank you so much. And
thanks
I'll
for
be
having
seeing you soon. Thank you. Have a good night.
Take good care.
Thank you. Enjoy.
Thank you. And everyone, we have a few shows lined up in case you haven't noticed. So don't forget to tune into Your Money, My Money, Your Money with Bridget Lumpkins. It's every Tuesday at 7 p.m. And also Legacy with Lunch Leaders with Emery Sorrell is tomorrow at 12 noon. Visit MIA Media GRP. You can live stream on Facebook, LinkedIn, and YouTube. Also, tomorrow is Chef Irie's show, and it is the Flavors of South Florida. And that show's tomorrow at 7 p.m. And also Jay Reynolds, his show is The Business of Black Business. And that is every Tuesday at 11 a.m. And don't forget, Soul with your girl, Nikki Says YOLO. It's every Wednesday at 7 p.m. So thank you again so much for tuning in. Don't forget to purchase your tickets for A Wonderful World, and we will see you next week. Have a good night.